I know this isn't typically a topic I might cover on my main channel. It's a little out there, a little more political, but I thought it was pretty interesting. As obviously today, right now, we have the World Economic Forum going on, and it's basically, if you're unfamiliar with it, it's basically like if all the demons that walk the earth were to host a party where they talk about how to best control the flesh bags. That's kind of how I view it. It's all essentially the most evil people on the planet getting together and talking about how to screw us all over, essentially. And there's some interesting topics going on right now, including the president of the European Union demanding globalist control over all information. Also, them talking about a literal new world order and things of that nature. All the stuff that they banned Alex for, that they said, Alex Jones was crazy for. These people are saying it out loud. Here's just a little clip. Oh, the Davos Bilderberg members want to create a new world order. Where have I heard that before? I mean, this is, you watch this clip and you can see they're like actually they're trying really hard. They're trying really hard to not say new world order, but they make a mistake.
That order seems to not be the order anymore. We are on the way to a new order, so we are between orders.
They're saying new world order, old world order.
Do you agree with that, or are there ways of what are we able to keep on the positive side from the old order to bring into a new world order? And
oops, he said it. Oops, he said it. You could tell he was like, I don't want to say it. I can't. Don't say it. Everybody's familiar with what that is now. They also, these are the people that want you to eat the bugs, live in a pod, you'll own nothing, and be happy. That's who these people are, right? Here's another thing. I mean, this is the people that are in that room. They think you don't. They think you're stupid. Oh, we're going to say new order instead of new world order, and you'll just let it slide. The president of the European Commission addressed elites at the World Economic Forum in Davos Tuesday, calling for an overarching globalist control over all information in the digital age. All information. The top concern for the next few years is not conflict or climate. It's disinformation and misinformation, he said. The boundary between online and offline is getting thinner and thinner, and this is even more important in the era of generative AI. Excellently addressing the elite as excellencies and personally naming Dear Klaus Schwab in her introduction, she called for the development of a new global framework for AI risks and a vow to drive global collaboration to prevent the spread of misinformation, parentheses, information they don't want you to know about. When did Zero Hedge get based? When people say misinformation, it's generally referring to information that they don't like or information that's inconvenient. There is real misinformation, obviously. There are people selling like panaceas, cure-alls, right? You see people offering cures to tinnitus all the time. If you don't know what tinnitus is, many of us who played in bands when we were young know what it is. It's a constant ringing in your ear from, damaging your eardrum. There is no cure to it, but it is maddening. It is just a terrible thing. But there's always some new idiot that's like saying, oh, just buy my salve and it'll fix your tinnitus. Or this is how, there's no cure. So people, that's what that is genuine misinformation. Or people that were AIDS denialists, stuff like that. The Foo Fighters at one point actually endorsed an AIDS denialism video. Did you know that? I believe their lead singer did renounce it later, but I digress. There was this whole belief at one point that AIDS wasn't killing people. It was the prescriptions they gave you that killed you. And the weird thing is, all of the people that were part of that movement died from AIDS. So, there's that. So there's like, there's actual misinformation that I believe does need, like, I think the community notes system at its core on Twitter is a good way to deal with it. Does it get weaponized? Yes, which I don't like. But when we hear people at the World Economic Forum, when we hear people like Rachel Madcow, when we hear people like Brian Stelter, 35 going on 65, talk about misinformation, they're talking about questioning the message. They're talking about, you have Anthony Fauci referring to himself as the science. Do you remember like T. Fiac in school? Title, hypothesis, problem, whatever, hypothesis is a part of the scientific method. But for 4 years, we weren't even allowed to have hypotheses about, where this coof came from, or have any hypotheses about what they were telling everyone to inject into their arm. And they called that misinformation. If you said you had any kind of side effects from it, they called that misinformation. Facebook banned it. Facebook wouldn't even let you, and still doesn't let you, talk about it. That is their form of misinformation. And, and that's what they want total globalist control over. Furthermore, she said 2024 is the biggest electoral year in history, and expressed concern that freedom comes with risks. There will always be those who try to exploit our openness, both from inside and out. There will always be attempts to put us off track. Where does that track lead, by the way? To eating bugs while they eat steak? I got a feeling that all these attendees at the World Economic Forum, even though they've booked out, they're literally, I read an article yesterday, I don't know if it was satire or not, I doubt it, where they were like literally out of prostitutes in that area. There will always be attempts to put us off track, for example, with disinformation and misinformation. She touted the EU's Digital Services Act, which under the guise of, quote, preventing hate speech, which again is not a real thing, establishes control over all information on all social media platforms. This is what they're talking about at the World Economic Forum. Right? She concluded that there is no doubt that we face the greatest risk to the global order in the post-war era. But in my mind, there is also no doubt that we can move forward with optimism and resolve. Why aren't these people just, if these meetings were happening 50 years ago, they would all be wearing red robes. Don't you think? There could be no doubt the number one target of these unelected technocrats is Elon Musk and X, given that they already have every other major platform in their pockets. Disagree. Rumble remains free. Here's Harvard's Naomi Oreskes, who don't care. If a hypothetical meteor, hypothetically landed in Davos, at these buildings, I think hypothetically the world would be a better place.
For a long time I was on Twitter, and now it's become such a toxic place that I've concluded it's not a worthwhile place to spend time. And as you said, it is exhausting. So you do have to...
This is basically them saying we have to go after Elon Musk. We can't control it. Twitter has always been toxic. Twitter has always been toxic. But now that our little pocket boy, Jack Dorsey, doesn't own it anymore, now it's toxic and we need to stop spending time there. At last year's WEF collab, Vera Don't Care, who holds the incredibly Orwellian title, of the European Commission's Vice Presidents for Values and Transparency, commented that Musk's freedom of speech absolutism does not jive with the new EU online regulations. Our message was clear. We have rules and they must be complied with, otherwise there will be sanctions, she declared, adding that the time of the Wild West is over, and further having the gall to declare, we are the protectors of freedom of speech as well. I chose to make this a standalone video for my YouTube channel because I think that while I wouldn't consider myself, knee deep in all this kind of stuff like maybe Alex is, the things that these people say at these meetings are real. These are the world's leaders getting together, and this is what they're talking about. They are not talking about helping you. They are talking about controlling you. I hope you were informed in this video, and if you enjoyed it, I hope you've left a like on it at some point. We'll talk to you again real soon.